begin the day here at Sports Day by bringing you the top stories in our morning wrap edition, and it's exactly what I'm here for. I have, of course, as always, a copy of this morning's Hindustan Times. I'll tell you what is it that the Hindustan Times has covered in today's morning newspaper. But let me tell you a couple of stories that I already have in mind for you. Let's quickly get started with the latest stories from the world of sport. So, first things first, as far as India's qualification into the semi-finals of the Women's World Cup is concerned, that is something that's been taken care of. Plenty of reactions coming in as well. A reminder that India don't necessarily now win to need to go ahead and win the last match because even though they'll be on the same points, if New Zealand go ahead and win their match as well, then then the rules of this particular edition are such that the teams with more wins will go through, and that's why India's qualification is sealed. That's point number one. Let's move ahead and talk beyond that. I was also talking about reactions, guys. The other reactions that I did manage to pick: Harmanpreet Kaur, Smriti Mandhana, all these players who've been around for a while say, especially Smriti Mandhana, saying that this is a huge relief for this camp because there were obviously some nerves, and now they are relieved that India sealed qualification. Now let's go with the story that I mentioned in the title, and that is to do with the Virat Kohli not departing on 2-0. That's what Sunil Gavaskar said. That interview is in fact up on SportsTak, our sister channel. So go ahead, watch that interview over there. There is another interview that you can watch of the man himself, and that's on Sports Day. He had a chat with us earlier yesterday, and there are plenty of talking points in that one too. And there are comments about Rohit Sharma as well. But as far as the interview that I am talking about is concerned, Sunil Gavaskar, the legendary Sunil Gavaskar, says that, listen, Virat's not done, clearly, and that was just an acknowledgement. So in case some of you still have doubts about why that glove went up, even Sunny G says that that was just a gesture to thank and acknowledge the support that he is received from that particular venue. And Australians in Adelaide have loved Virat Kohli. That is something that we know already. So he said that that was just a way of recognizing what the crowd had meant to Virat. So that's that. Nothing more as far as that gesture is concerned. From that particular game, let's also talk about another player who was involved, and that is Shreyas Iyer. Shreyas Iyer is the man who came for the press conference. A couple of noteworthy things that he talked about. One, we've already done a video on, so please go have a look at that one, in which he explains how is it and why is it that he's having a more upright stance. I've used images to tell you how is it that his stance has changed from the time that we saw him play in the Champions Trophy, and clearly you will see from there being a bit of a crouch, now it's more upright, his stance, and he's explained how on bouncy tracks that's exactly the kind of adjustment he wanted to make, and this is something that he's done in the past as well, going back to his young days playing for Mumbai. The other thing about Shreyas Iyer that is noteworthy is the fact that he explains his decision on red ball cricket. Remember, we told you that he had written a letter to the selectors saying that please don't consider me. I don't think I can go ahead and play red ball cricket, and that decision of his came from the fact that he said that he had an extensive domestic season, and at some point, after having played in Champions Trophy, after having played in the IPL, and then when he was featuring in the domestic competition, he realized that it takes a lot of intensity, especially in red ball cricket, to be able to field with the same intensity for multiple days, and oftentimes he wasn't able to do that. So on day one, after spending 90 overs on the field, he said that while he could contribute in the field, he said that internally I realized I wasn't as sharp, I wasn't able to give as much as is required in international cricket, and that's where the realization came that if in domestic cricket on 2 consecutive days he wasn't able to give his all in the field, the intensity had dropped after fielding a certain number of overs, then he thought that maybe it's the right thing to communicate that to the selectors as well. Those are the few stories that I had in mind, but I also, like I said, have the paper with me, this morning's Hindustan Times. Let's take a look at what is it that the Hindustan Times has to say. Take a look at this picture. Of course, this is the biggest coverage that's done on the sports page, and that's the win that India had against India had against New Zealand. Now that series is done, and of course there was obviously a mention about Australia winning the second ODI against against India. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. India sealing their place in the semi-final. So that's done with. Pratika Rawal, by the way, broke plenty of records. One of them I must tell you very quickly over here. This is represented in the graphic here as well. If you see, I'll try and get it closer. It's this graphic that I'm talking to you about. It talks about the fastest women to 1,000 runs in ODIs, and after Lindsay Wheeler of Australia in 1988, it is Pratika Rawal on that list with exactly the same number of innings. So she's tied with her in terms of being the fastest to 1,000 runs in women's ODIs. A couple of results from the El Clasico, from the Champions League as well, that I can tell you about. Galatasaray winning their fixture 3-1. Frankfurt being beaten 1-5 by Liverpool. Liverpool, remember, had lost 4 matches in succession. Though these are results that the paper is carrying from the night before, and not essentially from last night. The other thing, a small mention over here, but this is something that will interest you perhaps, is about Lionel Messi signing a new contract with Inter Miami. There were plenty of reports doing the rounds whether or not, sorry about that, whether or not Leo Messi will be staying in Inter Miami. They've put out a video in which you see the new stadium, the new Inter Miami stadium under construction, and then it cuts to Leo Messi, and that's how that announcement was made, that he's found his home and he will be staying on, and that's exactly what this carries as well. It's something that David Beckham, one of the owners of the club, has also confirmed. He has taken to Instagram. He's put out a tweet he's put out a post for Leo Messi, thanking him for the faith that he's shown in the club. And before I go, let me also tell you that Bangladesh have ended their wait for an ODI series win. All 10 wickets against the West Indies being picked up by the spinners, 179 runs. That was the margin of that particular victory for Bangladesh. With that, guys, the morning wrap's done for. I will now be joining you from office. Stay tuned. Plenty of stories I have in mind for you. Those will come in the form of VODs. So do come back to our channel. Do keep watching us, watching everything that we have for you here on Sports Today. Unfortunately, just running out of time to be able to take comments, but you've got the dugout in the evening. That's where we have plenty of time to converse, and that's where we'd love to take your questions.